Years ago, early on in my priesthood, I was helping out one summer in Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. The church, Our Lady of the Mount, and the rectory were located on top of a mountain ridge. It was a very affluent and beautiful neighborhood. I was the only priest there. The pastor had gone away on vacation. My evenings were often quiet and uneventful. One evening there was a driving downpour. It was the kind of night that made you glad you didn't have to go out. The phone rang. A distraught parishioner named Cornelia asked if she could come see me. On the phone, she was crying and needed to see me immediately. I told her I was free and to come right over. She was drenched when she arrived, and I got a towel and invited her into the parish office. And after a few casual remarks about the inclement weather, she sat down and told me a sad story of her recent miscarriage and the tension this miscarriage introduced into her marriage. She spoke about her pain and how the loss of the child seemed unbearable. Even though she was an educated, professional woman, there was something elemental and almost primitive in her response. She seemed inconsolable. I tried to respect her silences and stammered a few words of comfort that seemed to fall lifeless to the ground. Being both a priest and a man made me feel at that moment oddly ineffectual. But then it happened. My mind thought of Mary and her pain at the loss of her son. I quietly prayed for her intercession. I began to talk to Cornelia about Our Lady and the fact that Mary understood what she was feeling. As I was encouraging her to confide in the consoling image of the icon of our Mother of Perpetual Help, I felt a presence enter the office. A presence of ineffable sweetness, like a fragrance that gradually permeates a room. This gentle, unseen woman was simply there with us. As I spoke of Mary's courage, her abandonment to God's will and of her love, Cornelia's weeping stopped, and a quiet peace stole into her face's grim hardness. This experience was real and perceptible. It was palpable for both of us. After an hour of talking, Cornelia left, and as she entered the stormy night, she turned and she gave me a look of gratitude. I felt as if I hadn't done much. I had merely received a great grace, and this grace came in the form of a simple revelation. Mary was real. Now, much of what I read about Mary tends to make her a symbol or part of a larger myth. But in truth, Mary is a real person in my life, and not just some theological argument or symbol of liberation. And this truth continues to reveal itself to me over and over again. She is my mother in the Spirit, and I am her son in Christ. She has been a constant role model. Of course, we must imitate Christ, but because of his divine nature, we can only do so up to a point. Mary is totally human, and that is her glory. Like the icon, she always leads us to her Son. She never remains central. With a gentle but firm hand, she points us to her Jesus. After all, was he not flesh from her flesh? As you approach her, she becomes transparent, and it is her Son that you see. Dante, the great epic poet, expressed this so poignantly in his Paradiso. Look upon the face that is most likened unto Christ, for its brightness and no other hath power to fit thee to see Christ. I find Mary to be an inspiring model for my ministry. She is such a corrective to the Messiah complex, which sometimes afflicts priests who are in the ordained ministry. She is transparent, and in that humility, in that humble posture, I see great spiritual wisdom as I try to follow her Son as his priest.